Hello, and thank you for viewing this presentation. If you have any subsequent questions at the end of this, please could you email them to the address that's shown on this slide, which is bronzedav@cromptonhouse.org. That goes to a centralised mailbox from which a number of people on the team can dip in and answer any queries. Hopefully, of course, there won't be too many, but of course, I will probably end up missing out a couple of things. Okay, the purpose of the presentation is to make clear both to parents and to young people what we're going to be doing and what's going to be expected in order for us to be able to complete the expedition section, which we couldn't complete last summer, obviously, due to the first lockdown. We have made some adaptations to our usual training and expedition routines. So if parents have had young people go through the award before, it is going to be totally different to that experience. So please again see what those differences are. We won't have used any of them before. They are going to be used for the first time this year. But the plan is that we will be completing a pots and pans walk in May 2021. And then we will be completing the expedition with a difference in June 2021, which will mean that the young people will manage to, on successful completion of the expedition, they will receive their award. Right, we are running the pots and pans walk, but this is essentially going to be our qualifier for the expedition. We're not going to be running a practice expedition this year, but as it says on the slide there, we did feel that we needed to meet, or we need to meet, or the young people, sorry, need to meet basic qualification criteria so that we can be sure as best we can that they are going to be safe being remotely supervised on the qualifying expedition. So we're going to be looking on the pots and pans walk both at their fitness, their ability to get around, and the skill levels, their navigation skills, so as to make sure that they are they're able to follow the route and they're in a safe position all the time. Now, the pots and pans walk is actually longer than either of the expedition days in terms of distance, and in some cases and in some places there is more challenging terrain, particularly the ascent up to the Pots and Pans monument itself. So we see it as an excellent barometer for both the skill levels and the fitness. Now, the walk itself will take place on Saturday the 15th of May for the autumn group and Saturday the 22nd of May for the spring group, and the meet time will be 7:45 a.m. prompt. Obviously, different groups walk at different paces, but the average finish time we think is likely to be about 3 o'clock. There could be some groups that are slightly earlier, there could be some groups that are later. I think the latest that I've ever left a group was around about the group left was around about 3:45 in the afternoon. So we would ask parents, yes, to be flexible, please, with pickup times. We are going to allow students to phone parents in order to give you parents an estimated time of arrival at the finish point, and the finish point will also be the young people's starting point. Now, because we've only got one route, we actually have to start groups off at different locations. We're actually having 6 groups out. 3 of the groups will be walking clockwise, 3 of the groups will be walking anti-clockwise, and starting from these 3 different places. So basically we don't have the Pied Piper effect that everybody's following the first group that set off. So the start finish points are either Dovestones Reservoir car park, and we've put the address there with the postcode for sat-nav purposes. Holmfirth Road, Saddleworth, which is near to the entrance to the Bin Green car park. Basically, if you're not sure where that is, you get to the mini roundabout in Greenfield as if you were going up towards Dovestones. You drive up towards Dovestones, but instead of taking that right-hander that takes you down into the car park, you carry on, and about half to 3/4 of a mile up the road there is a lay-by and a car park on the right-hand side, just before or just around where the sign is for the entrance to the Peak District. So that's the second start point. And the third start point is St Chad Church in Upper Mill, which is next to the Church Inn, again above Upper Mill there, and the postcode again is there. Now participants, the young people next week at training session, will get a personalised letter, and on that letter will be stated clearly what their start point is. So they need to have a look at that. Parents, you also please, if you could have a look at that, so that you are sure that you're dropping off your child, your young person, at the right place. Just like the Ogden Walk back whenever that was, either October or January last academic year, participants will require full day walk kit. There is the minimum requirement kit. So even on a day as glorious as it is today, and I'm recording this on the Friday at lunchtime, it's a lovely day outside, but even on a day like today when we know there's going to be no rain, it is a basic kit requirement that waterproofs are there, that hats are in the bag, that they've got gloves with them, and so on. I will put a full kit list onto the letters, but something, a slight difference here from the Ogden Walk, is that the young people will need to bring with them a packed lunch, and will also need a hot drink and a cold drink. And I would recommend, fluid-wise, that they bring with them definitely their water bottles, their litre water bottles that we issued, again filled with water, and another container with water. And we always recommend for expedition that this young people are carrying 2 litres of water with them at the start, so they've got enough water to see them through. I will talk to the young people as well about regulating water intake, so that they're not gulping down that 2 litres of water in the first 2 hours, and then they've got 4 hours without a drink. So that's hopefully the pots and pans walk sorted out, knowing that a letter is coming out shortly. That will be next week in the training sessions. Now, the expeditions are expeditions with a difference. The Duke of Edinburgh's award has given us a lot of flexibility, and we're adapting as much of that flexibility into the expeditions so that we can be as COVID secure as we possibly can on the expeditions, and that the young people get manage to do as many of the 20 conditions as they're able to do in order to meet that expedition criteria. Logistics wise, they will take place on Friday the 19th and Saturday the 20th of June for the autumn group, and Sunday the 27th to Monday the 28th of June for the spring group. And again, the meet time will be at 7:45 a.m. prompt. Half of the groups, because I'm not sure how many groups we will have at the moment, half of the groups will start from school, and half of the groups will start from Littleborough. But again, I'm going to put out another video presentation in the run-up to the expedition, so that you are absolutely sure where those start-finish times will be. Now, as part of the 20 conditions, there is students have to complete a minimum number of hours of planned activity. Contrary to popular belief, it's not about a distance that a student or a young person has to walk in a particular day. It's about planned activities. Now, a planned activity will include, obviously, the walking, the lunch. It's anything that will be on their route card. So we're going to use that in this case, so that we can be as flexible as possible with the groups. Now, due to the staggered starts, again, we don't want the Pied Piper effect as groups are leaving. We start sending groups out from 8 o'clock, and usually the last group will go out from about 9 o'clock. Apologies there for the tannoy announcement in the background. So yeah, what we're actually going to do is we're going to start the clock, so to speak, at 9 o'clock in the morning. So all groups at that point will be out. And as I said, it's a minimum number of hours of planned activity. So if a group has been out for 6 hours and 40 minutes, and another group has been walking for 6 hours and 10 minutes, that slight difference is not going to, it's not going to preclude anybody from gaining and passing the expedition. And as I've said, due to COVID restrictions, there have been a number of expedition flexibilities which we will be using for this series of expeditions. One of those flexibilities is that we're not going to have an overnight stay. The expedition is going to run over 2 days, but split. So as the group has done their 6 hours of planned activity and reached the point that we want them to reach, because it's not just going to be a case of 6 hours and stop, teams, groups will be able to be picked up and taken home, sleep in their own beds, nice and comfortable, and then turn up at the start point for day 2 on day 2. Teams will have to plan and cook one substantial meal, which they've always had to do. Usually that would be the evening meal at the end of day 1. But what we're suggesting, what we're asking today or this time, is that the cooked substantial meal will be day 2 breakfast. And the simplest way of cooking day 2 breakfast and getting day 2 breakfast sorted is to get the stoves out, get the gas out, and fire up a pan of porridge. Now, whether the young people actually eat the porridge or not is another matter. They've got to plan and cook a substantial meal. They don't necessarily have to eat it, but I would always suggest that porridge is good for the slow release energy over the course of the day. Now, if teams have met their minimum number of planned activity hours, we may use an alternative point for teams to finish rather than the traditional campsite or on day 1. Day 2, they should, within those 6 hours, be able to make it back to school without much issue. The usual plan is for us to finish the day 1 walk at the Castleshaw Centre above Delph. But we have got alternative extraction points, so to speak, en route that we could use should a group have been slow or got lost. We will be looking, though, most definitely at effort. So even though the young people will know that there's a minimum number of 6 hours planned activity doesn't include 3 hours sitting around having lunch so that they can then walk less and therefore finish earlier. The planned activity has to be done. If they're milking the breaks, then we will let them know that they need to complete the hours as we are recording them. Another slight variation to what we usually do here is that I am going to provide the students with the routes and with the route cards. Usually we give them the route and they transfer that then onto their own map and they then write out their own route card. We're going to provide all of those to save a lot of time, and also, of course, to make sure that the routes and the route cards are plotted and written out as they should have been. But the teams must plan and prepare. It's not simply going to be a case, and this is definitely speaking to the young people, and if parents could back me up on this, I would really appreciate it. It is not simply a case of rocking up on the day, getting the map out and going, right, where are we going? So the young people will have to prepare. My suggestions for preparation are by looking at the route on Google Earth to familiarise themselves with the matching up the map with the landscape if they go onto the satellite view. I've recorded and uploaded commentary videos onto YouTube, which I would be expecting the young people to be watching and taking heed of. And also, there is absolutely nothing at all to stop people from going out and walking parts of the routes in advance of them actually doing the expedition. Obviously, I cannot police 100 and odd young people whether they're going out and doing the routes or not. It's in the local area. There's absolutely the young people, the groups in the past that have done the best, that have managed to navigate the best, are the ones that have prepared fully, and that, yes, that has included people going out and walking parts of the route to familiarise themselves with it. And this, the final slide now. Training sessions will restart from next week. So Tuesday the 27th of April for autumn group, Wednesday the 28th of April for spring group, and they'll be from 2:40 until 3:40 in the dining rooms. There is a week off, so there will be a session next week. There won't be a session the week after due to it being a parents' evening that week. But we've put on here that it is compulsory for the young people to attend. It's absolutely vital that the young people attend every single session, because obviously we are going through a huge amount of stuff that the young people are going to need to know in order to make sure that their expedition is a success and that they manage to complete their expedition in a safe manner. So we are going to be keeping a very, very close eye on registers and a very, very close eye on the young people attending. And that, as I said, was the last slide. I'd like to thank you very much for watching this presentation. Obviously, with it being on YouTube, you can watch it and watch it to your heart's content. And if you need something to send you to sleep, I'm sure that this will be useful. But what we will do in the meantime is I'm going to do a parents' information evening about the expedition itself. Again, a video such as this, and I will send that out to via parent mail as soon as that is completed and as soon as we feel that the time is right for that information to go out. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching the presentation. As I said at the beginning, if you need to get in contact, if there are any questions that you have for the team regarding the Pots and Pans walk and regarding the expedition, please send any questions to bronzedv@cromptonhouse.org.